Before we get started with this video, I actually uploaded this one on my second channel a while back now, but I don't really run that anymore, so I'm moving it over to the primary channel here, Detail Groove. We're going to talk about maintenance and scheduling those clients. Second is this Friday the 17th, I'll be opening up enrollment to my premium online course, Detailing as a Business, where I teach you how to start and grow your detailing business. So if you've been on the fence about starting one, you want to start one this year, this week, this month, what have you, now's your chance, because this is the last time I'll be offering it at this price point. Next month, the pricing will go up. So just trying to give everyone the heads up on that one. Again, that's this Friday, the 17th. Other than that, let's get started with the video. In this video, we're gonna cover how you should structure your maintenance plans for your detailing business. So that's if a customer wants to get on a maintenance program for bi-weekly, weekly, or just monthly for their vehicles. We're gonna talk about pricing, scheduling, location, different variations and different factors that go into what you should think about with your maintenance programs. And remember, if you want more tips, guides, resources, always check the description box down below. So the question that came in is, hey, I'm gonna offer maintenance programs bi-weekly, 3 times a month, once a month. How would you go about pricing and scheduling that? Now, there's a few things that you wanna keep in mind when it comes to maintenance programs. Personally, I don't do many of them, but if that's the route you want to go, if that's the type of system you want to run, then there are a few things that you're going to want to keep in mind. So number one, with pricing, I'm not going to give you specific pricing because your market, your skill set, your goals, all that I'm not going to be able to tell you a specific price. What I charge here in Texas is completely different from California, which is completely different from New York. So I'm just not going to be able to give you exact numbers. But one thing that I want to point out with pricing is that a lot of times when you think about maintenance programs is if they're going to do it once, twice, 3 or 4 times per week, usually it's the more services you're adding, the less each service is going to cost because you're signing up for more, right? That's typically what you see across the spectrum. The more sausages you get, the cheaper the per sausage cost is. So that's pretty. So let's say for just a regular service, someone's calling you out once. I'm just making up these numbers. Don't hold these to the heart. Don't comment like, oh my God, that's teaching. I'm just making up these numbers for this example. Let's say your average like maintenance for whatever vehicle, just make it up in your head. It's gonna be for just one time, right? It's gonna be, I don't know, $20. It's $20, correct? And that's you going out once. So now if they're gonna do it twice, the car's not gonna get as dirty, it's not gonna be as used, you're gonna see it more frequently, so you'll drop it down to like, I don't know, $18. Again, making up all these numbers. And then if they're gonna come out 3 times, you'll drop it all the way to 15 per maintenance service, right? And then if it's 4, you'll drop it all the way down to 10 because you'll be in and out. So if they're gonna be with you 4 times, if you're gonna see that car 4 times, so 4 weeks every month, then you'll get 40 from them, right? And then if you're looking at them, I just skipped ahead. Don't need for you to see all that jazz. Okay, so if you're gonna service the vehicle 4 times at $10 per service, it comes out to be 40. Now you're saying, well, that's if I'm seeing it so much, why is it so cheap? Well, again, you're seeing it more frequently. It's not gonna get as dirty. Again, you're gonna have to change this based on your situation, but it might not get that dirty. You're gonna see it often, so it's not gonna take you much time. It's a quick in and out. 3 times you're dropping it. You make a little more, but again, let me just skip to the main part. So with pricing and such, a lot of people want to say, hey, can I get them on a monthly reoccurring payment plan, or can I get them to like pay up front, or do they pay me for every service that I go out? So obviously this one isn't really like a maintenance program. It's just once a month. Like I wouldn't really call that a maintenance if it's just once a month. I would say maintenance starts like around 2 at a minimum, would be 2 to 4. I would say that's an actual maintenance plan. Here's like, hey, I just need my car cleaned again, because it's very easy for it to get dirty. So here you wouldn't count 1 as a maintenance. Like I would not change. I would just keep on charging normal price for just 1 service. Now when it comes to here, it's really dependent on like the size of the vehicle, the use case of it, and the problem with it, like once you give them a price, so they want a set price, right? they don't want to be like, you don't want to tell them like, okay, hey, you know, this week is gonna be 50. Next week it's gonna be 45. This week it's gonna be 60. Like, ideally, you want to make it super easy so they know that every single week and every single month they're gonna get a charge, or that you're gonna charge them a certain amount. That would be because it's maintenance. Like that's the point of a maintenance program. Again, you can totally go against that and they can work out for you, but generally speaking, like maintenance programs as a whole, like across all spectrums, it's typically just one set price because it is just maintenance. So you want to give them a set price, and the tricky part here is you need to be really clear with the customer in terms of the structure of the maintenance program. Because let's say that they're scheduled, that they say, hey, we want you to come out 4 times out of a month, right? And you're charging $10 here, right? 10, right? So let's say they come and fulfill, and throughout the month you come here and they pay you $10, right? No problem. Then you service them again, and then you service them again, right? And you're like, okay, this is great, this is easy work. And then on the 4th time, they're like, hey, never mind, we don't need it this month. So the problem that you get to is that for this month, let's call it, I don't know, what month are we in? We're in September. So for the month of September, right, you were supposed to go out 4 times. So you were supposed to collect 40 buckaroos, right? But since they canceled the last one, you only actually collected 30. Now, as we see here though, that realistically, if it was a 3 service month, then it should actually be $15 per month, and you should have collected $45. So that's the tricky part, where it's like, how do you want to collect the money? Because if they pay you in full, they're gonna give you $40. So you're gonna go out 4 times, right? Like, no matter if it's raining or whatever, like they already paid for 4, they're gonna get 4. If you want to structure it towards like they can roll them over and you can like manage all that, sure. That's kind of confusing though. Maybe you can like refund them what they don't use. That's on you. It gets a little bit more tricky. This is why I don't do that many like maintenance programs. And if you have like, I mean, you know, like 5, 10, that's easy. But once you like really get into those high numbers and you're doing things like this, that's when it gets a little bit more complicated. Not, you know, end of the world, but it is a bit more complicated. So if they pay in full, they're gonna give you 40. But if they're paying as you go, then this is where you get into the problem where they might not, they're gonna pay you every time you call them out. And if you predetermine or pre-agree that, okay, we wanna come out 4 times, but they only come out 3 times, then you're the one that's getting the short end of the stick on that one. Because if they're only gonna call you 3 times, it should have been 45, not 40 for that month. Does that make sense? Now, with that being said, there are other factors that are gonna come into it. So let's say what happens if, you know, weather is a problem and they don't want you to come out that week. It's gonna happen. They're gonna travel, you're gonna get sick, you're gonna be booked out for 1 week, you're gonna, whatever the case may be, you're not gonna be able to, if they sign up for 4, you're not gonna be able to hit them every single time, every single month. It's just not gonna happen. So, you know, whether through weather, whether through you being hurt, whether through you on vacation, like, how are you gonna, and I'm not, you know, I'm not giving you the exact answer, but these are just things you need to think about if you're trying to structure something. It's like, how do you roll over if they signed up for 4 and they only did 3 on your fault, as far as like you're sick, you're booked out? Do you roll that over to next month? Did they get credited? Did they get refunded that $10 because you didn't service them? But then that's the thing though, like that's what you have to think about. Like, okay, if it is on me and I'm getting paid in full, like I'm making much less because they prepaid for 4, I didn't do 1, they did 3, well, I serviced 3. So that's just, again, I'm not giving you like, this is the exact formula you're supposed to follow, but it's just one of the things where you have to think about this before you just start shooting out numbers. Next is like your routes you're gonna take, your location. So is this vehicle gonna be at the same location every single time, whether it be their work or their home location? Because this is just an imaginary map. You know, if for the first 2 times, you know, if you're mobile and you're starting your shop, your warehouse or your home garage is right here, and the customer location is right here, and you're charging whatever, it doesn't matter. And okay, and it's like 10 miles, right? Okay, no big deal. But then let's say on the next one, they're at their work location, and their work location is over here. and now it's actually a 25-mile drive to them. Is it the same, or is that going to add a lot more time in terms of where you live? Because 25 miles might not take too long for one city or state, but another city or state might take like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on traffic and the time you're going. So you have to make sure that you're getting all, you're just kind of weeding out all these details. And it's saying, okay, look, if you're not going to be at your home location, then we'll skip it over and wait till you are, because that's just farther distance. Or one thing you can do is keep if possible, again, like if you can structure your schedule like this. If you have, let's say, 10 maintenance clients on there, like, can you hit them all in one day? So if they're kind of scattered throughout the city, I'm not gonna do 10, but you get the point. If you're scattered throughout the city, you want to make sure that you're not being redundant with your routes. Whereas, like, if you start here at home base, right, and then you go here, and then you you go here, but instead of like being smart and like planning an efficient route, so you drive less, you're actually going all over the place, and then back to this. So one thing is confirming like where those locations are going to be for the maintenance, and then two, it'll be ideal if you can fit a handful or as many of those maintenance clients in one day. That way you just get your system going. Like, instead of going from like a paint correction and an engine cleaning, and then you go do 3 maintenance, like, you just get into that mindset, into that structure, into that system of like, okay, we're just banging out these maintenance clients. It's a wash, it's a quick interior, and on to the next one. And you just knock them out left and right. And you really want to develop a system for this. Like, maintenance is supposed to be a maintenance. Like, it's supposed to go it's not easy, but there's supposed to be a structure to it, right? Like, there's going to be different levels of maintenance, right? Like, some customers might, their maintenance might be like a full wash and wax every single time, just because that's what they want. But ideally, I'd say it's going to be like a wash, maybe a quick detail spray to top off the wax or something, and like a vacuum and wiping down the interior, right? So like, you want to be able to just follow a complete system to just knock it out in like record time every single time. There's going to be times where you need to give it more attention and such, of course, but maintenance is like, you want to go for numbers and efficiency. Like, we're not doing a 10, 15, 20 plus paint correction where you're going at, like, you're just here to just touch it up a little bit, make it look good, and you're gonna see it again next week or in 2 weeks. And if the customer says, hey, we want to get on a maintenance plan for once a month, you can call it a maintenance plan for sure. Like, there's no problem about that, but I wouldn't give them any special pricing based off of 1 month. So if someone calls you out to wash and vacuum the interior and wipe it down, and it's usually $20, I'm gonna charge $20 every single month, because that's just too much time in between for you to travel and such. After a few cases, you see that, okay, this, it's actually not dirty at all. It's a single person, no pets, no kids, no guests. It's always just this part that needs to be cleaned. Okay, then you can change the price and you can like lower it if you want, if that's the case. Like, if nothing else is dirty and like it's just a quick little touch up that takes absolutely no time, like, you'll change the price based on the condition. But even then, like, I would not do anything for one single service. Now, if it's anything over 2, yeah, that's when you want to go and play with your pricing and such. Again, I can't tell you the exact price. I just can't. It's hard. I will probably end up messing you up because we're completely different businesses and such. And the next thing you need to think about when it comes to pricing is if they're going to add 1 or more vehicles. So in my business, like, if a customer is gonna, the only time we really give like a discount or something is when they do give us like 2-3 vehicles at a time, and every vehicle has to be, at least the ticket price has to be over $200 in order for them to get any type of like bundle discount. And I don't mind, like, if a customer is gonna give us 3 vehicles and each vehicle is like on average like $300, I'm not gonna be like, I'm gonna give them something just as an appreciation, like, yeah, thanks for giving us 3 vehicles. So for us, if there's more than 2 vehicles, right? So there has to be 2 vehicles, vehicle 1, vehicle 2, and each one is over at least 200, right? Then there's no science behind it. I just pick a number. So it might be like, I might knock off $10 off each service, or I might knock off like $15. You don't gotta go crazy with it, but it's just like more of an appreciation thing. Like, okay, you gave me 2 cars, I'll knock off a few bucks. So like out of this 400, let's just assume it's $200 each. Then let's assume this is 400. Wow. Then choose one, whatever you want. It might be $30 off, or it might be $20 off. No big deal. It's not gonna kill me or anything. And I have 2 vehicles there. I'm not driving to another location. So it's so that's what I do when there's 2 vehicles. That's gonna be happening with you. Where okay, let's say they want their 2 vehicles done. So how do I change the pricing of there? Do I just keep everything the same? Right? And that's on you. Like, you can say, well, since these are maintenance programs, they're not meant to be costly. They're meant to, whatever. We don't offer any discounts or bundles here. Or you could say, yes, if you give us 2 or more vehicles, then we'll knock off X, Y, Z. But then you have to think about like, okay, well, how, is the price going to change per how many times we go? And then it's going to change also on how many vehicles they're giving us. And again, you can dismiss all of this. If you want to charge your premium rate every single time, do that. Like, it's also your business. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just trying to give you an overall game plan, blueprint, guidelines that you can follow based off my experience. But if you want to just like, if you're just maintaining high-end vehicles with high-end clientele, they probably won't care. Like, they're happy to pay premium prices for premium services from you. If you're going for more like dealerships or like, not lower end, but just more conscious-minded clientele when it comes to budgeting with their money and their vehicle, but they want to take care of them, then you might want to charge. Might want to follow this type of system. So don't think any of this is fact or concrete information I'm giving you. Take what I gave you here, apply it to your business, and see where you can go. You're gonna make mistakes. Like some customers you have, you're gonna give them a price, and 3 months later you're gonna be like, oh, this is probably too cheap. And then it's like you have that conversation with the customer saying, hey, I'm gonna raise your rates in 2 months. If you want to stick with me, that's fine. I'd be happy to continue to take care of your vehicles, but in 2 months we will raise the prices by $10 or whatever. So that's gonna happen. There's no way that you will make mistakes. You will have those conversations, and it is what it is. So hopefully this helps. Let me know if you have any comments, questions down in the comment section down below, and I'll see you on the next one.